3 children, 3 royal heirs, 3 young lives that could be destroyed by a single photograph. Kate and William know this. They've lived it. They've seen what happens when childhood is stolen by cameras and headlines and public obsession. And so, they made a decision. One strict rule that governs everything about how they raise George, Charlotte, and Louis. A rule so important that they've threatened legal action to enforce it. A rule that has put them at odds with the media, with royal tradition, and even with other members of their own family. This isn't about being overprotective parents. This is about survival. Because Kate and William watched what happened to Diana. They saw what fame did to Harry. They know exactly what's at stake. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're uncovering the one rule that Kate and William refuse to break, no matter what. The rule that's protecting their children, but might be creating problems they never anticipated. Hit subscribe, because this story is about to reveal a side of royal parenting you've never seen before. To understand this rule, we need to go back. Back to when William was the child in the spotlight. When his childhood wasn't his own. August 31st, 1997. William was just 15 years old when his mother died, chased by paparazzi through a Paris tunnel. The world watched a traumatized boy walk behind his mother's coffin while billions looked on. But here's what people forget. The nightmare didn't start that night. It started years earlier. William's entire childhood was documented. Every school event, every vacation, every awkward adolescent moment was captured and published. Photographers camped outside his school. Long lenses photographed him through windows. His friends were approached for quotes. His teenage girlfriends were harassed. There was no escape, no privacy, no normal childhood. William has spoken about this publicly. He's described the paranoia he felt, never knowing when a camera was watching. The inability to trust people because someone was always trying to get close to him for a story. The anger at seeing his mother chased, photographed, and criticized daily. And then there's Harry. We've all watched what happened to Harry. The substance abuse he turned to as a teenager. The mental health struggles he's discussed in therapy. The rage he still carries about growing up in a fishbowl. Harry has directly blamed media intrusion for many of his issues. In his memoir and interviews, he's talked about how being photographed constantly made him feel like a zoo animal. How he couldn't grieve privately. How every mistake was magnified and immortalized. 2 brothers. 2 very different responses to the same childhood trauma. But they share one thing. They both know exactly what they don't want for their own children. When William and Kate got engaged in 2010, William gave Kate his mother's engagement ring. It was romantic, yes, but it was also a promise. A promise that Kate's life would be different from Diana's. That he would protect her in ways his father didn't protect his mother. And when George was born in 2013, followed by Charlotte in 2015 and Louis in 2018, that promise extended to them. William and Kate made a vow. Their children would have something William never had. Privacy, normalcy, childhood, and they would enforce it with one unbreakable rule. So what is this rule that Kate and William have built their entire parenting strategy around? It's beautifully simple and fiercely protective. Their children will only be photographed on their terms, in controlled circumstances, and only when Kate and William decide the time is right. Now, on the surface, that might sound reasonable, but let me tell you why this is actually revolutionary for the royal family. For generations, royal children have been public property. The media had an unwritten agreement with the palace, official photo opportunities in exchange for leaving the children alone at other times. But here's the problem. That agreement was constantly violated. Photographers would get shots anyway. Unauthorized pictures would surface. The leave them alone part never really happened. William and Kate looked at this broken system and said, no more. Instead, they implemented something unprecedented. Kate, who studied art history and is an accomplished photographer, would take official photographs of their children herself. These carefully curated images would be released to the media on birthdays and special occasions. In exchange, the media was expected to leave the children completely alone otherwise. No school runs, no private outings, no telephoto lenses at the park. And here's where it gets serious. When media outlets violated this rule, William and Kate didn't just complain. They sued. In 2017, when paparazzi photographed George and Charlotte at private moments, William and Kate took legal action. They sent letters to multiple news organizations, threatening further legal consequences. The message was clear: test this boundary, and we will fight you in court. But the rule extends beyond just media. It applies to everyone. According to royal insiders, Kate and William have strict guidelines for anyone who interacts with their children. School parents are asked not to take photos at school events if George, Charlotte, or Louis are present. Birthday party invitations reportedly include requests that no pictures be shared on social media. Friends and family know what happens with the children stays private. No cute Instagram posts. No funny anecdotes shared with journalists. Nothing. Even within the royal family itself, this has caused tension. Reports suggest that Harry and Meghan's openness about their own children, including sharing photos and details publicly, has created friction. William and Kate apparently felt that Harry and Meghan's approach set a precedent that could pressure them to be more open too, and they refused. Because for William and Kate, this isn't about being controlling or difficult, but enforcing this rule has come with consequences. Big ones. First, there's the media backlash. British tabloids, in particular, have criticized Kate and William for being too controlling. They argue that as future king, George especially should be more visible to the public. The people have a right to see their future monarch, they claim. William's response: essentially, not until I say so. This has created a cold war between the Waleses and certain media outlets. Some publications have been frozen out of exclusive access because they violated the photography rule. Journalists who were too aggressive have found themselves blacklisted from royal events. Then there's the public perception issue. In an age of social media, where every celebrity shares every moment of their children's lives, Kate and William's strict privacy seems almost suspicious to some people. Conspiracy theories have emerged. Why don't we ever see the children? Some ask, what are they hiding? The speculation ranges from innocent curiosity to bizarre theories about the children's well-being. The tragic irony? The very privacy Kate and William enforced to protect their children has become fuel for rumor and speculation. But perhaps the most complicated tension is the one within the family itself. King Charles, according to royal sources, has sometimes felt frustrated by the strict rule. As a grandfather, he wants to share his pride in his grandchildren. There have been reports of disagreements about whether George, Charlotte, and Louis should appear more at royal events. Charles grew up in a different era, where royal children were seen as ambassadors for the monarchy from birth. William's approach feels, to some of the older generation, like he's ashamed of the royal family or doesn't trust the institution. But William stands firm, because he's not thinking about tradition. He's thinking about trauma. And here's where Kate's influence becomes crucial. Unlike Diana, who was thrust into royal life with minimal preparation, Kate had years to observe the family before marrying in. She watched William struggle with media attention. She saw the pressure firsthand. Kate has reportedly been the driving force behind creating a normal home life for their children. She does the school runs herself when possible. She takes them to regular activities. She ensures they have playdates with non-royal children. But all of this only works if the media isn't documenting every moment. One photograph of George at a friend's birthday party, and that friend's family gets harassed. One shot of Charlotte at dance class, and the dance school becomes a media circus. The rule isn't just protecting George, Charlotte, and Louis. It's protecting everyone around them. Yet there's a paradox here that's becoming harder to ignore. By keeping the children so private, William and Kate are making them more valuable to photographers. An unauthorized photo of the Wales children could sell for hundreds of thousands of pounds. The stricter the rule, the higher the reward for breaking it. Nothing has tested this rule more severely than what happened in March 2024. Kate disappeared from public view for months after announcing abdominal surgery. The palace was tight-lipped. Details were scarce, and the world went into a frenzy. Social media exploded with speculation. Where was Kate? Why weren't there updates? Conspiracy theories went viral. The pressure mounted. And at the center of it all, that one strict rule. Kate and William could have easily quieted the speculation by releasing a current photo of Kate with the children. A simple family snapshot showing she was fine. Why? Because doing so would violate the rule. It would use their children as props to satisfy public curiosity. It would set a precedent that whenever the public demanded proof or reassurance, the children would be trotted out. William and Kate would rather weather a media storm than compromise on their children's privacy. Even when Kate finally released that Mother's Day photo, the one that turned out to be edited, She didn't include William or make it an official palace release. It was positioned as a personal family photo, shared by Kate herself. The message was clear: this is our private family moment, shared on our terms. Of course, the editing controversy that followed created another firestorm. People questioned everything. The criticism was intense. But here's what's remarkable. Throughout all of it, Kate and William never wavered on the core rule. Even when the easy solution was to be more open, more public, more accessible with their children, they refused. The March crisis revealed something important. For William and Kate, protecting their children's privacy is non-negotiable. More important than their own reputation. More important than public opinion. More important than tradition. They will accept being criticized, questioned, even vilified, before they'll exploit their children for PR purposes. That's not just a rule. That's a principle, a line in the sand. And it comes from a place of deep, genuine fear about what public exposure could do to George, Charlotte, and Louis. So how does the public really feel about this rule? On one hand, many people respect and admire William and Kate's protectiveness, especially parents. They see two people trying to give their children a normal childhood despite extraordinary circumstances. They remember what happened to Diana, to William, to Harry, and they think, yes, protect those kids. Polls have shown that a majority of Britons support the couple's approach to raising their children privately. But there's another perspective, one that's been growing louder. Some argue that George, in particular, cannot have a completely private childhood because he will one day be king. He needs to be prepared for public life. He needs to learn how to handle cameras, media, and public scrutiny. And by shielding him too much, William might actually be setting him up for a harder transition when he's older. You can't protect them forever, critics say. Eventually, they'll be thrown into the deep end anyway. Isn't gradual exposure better than sudden immersion? It's a fair point, and it's one that William and Kate are surely wrestling with behind closed doors. There's also the argument about public money. The royal family is funded by British taxpayers. Don't those taxpayers have some right to see the children they're supporting? William's counterargument would likely be, you can see them, just on terms that protect their well-being. But perhaps the most interesting reaction has come from other royal watchers who've compared William and Kate's approach to how other royal families handle children. The Swedish royal family, for instance, allows more public access to their children. The Spanish royals have found a middle ground. Even in Monaco, the princely children are more visible. Is the British approach too extreme? Or is it perfectly calibrated for the unique intensity of the British tabloid media? It depends on who you ask. George is now 11 years old. Charlotte is 9. Louis is 6. They're getting older. Soon, they'll want their own social media. They'll want to do normal teenage things. They'll want independence. And every step toward independence is a step away from William and Kate's control. What happens when George is 16 and wants to go to a party? When Charlotte wants to post on Instagram like her friends? When Louis wants to try out for a sports team that gets media coverage? The rule that's protected them as young children becomes harder to enforce as they age. William knows this. He lived it. He remembers the frustration of being a teenager who couldn't do anything without it becoming a headline. So how do you prepare your children for inevitable public scrutiny while still protecting them from it as long as possible? There's no easy answer. Some royal experts predict that we'll see a gradual, controlled increase in the children's public appearances as they get older. Carefully managed events where they can build confidence and learn to handle attention. Others think William will hold the line as long as possible, potentially until George is 18 and legally an adult. But here's what we know for certain. William and Kate are playing a long game. They're not just thinking about protecting their children today. They're thinking about the kind of adults George, Charlotte, and Louis will become. Adults who are confident, mentally healthy, and prepared for their roles without being traumatized by their childhoods. Because William knows something the rest of us can only imagine. The crown is heavy, and childhood is the only time these children will ever get to put it down. One rule, one family, one chance to get it right. Kate and William have drawn a line. They've said, our children's privacy is more important than public opinion, royal tradition, or media access. It's a bold stand, a controversial one, and we won't know if it's the right one for years to come. Will George, Charlotte, and Louis thank their parents for this protection? Or will they resent the isolation it created? Will they be better prepared for royal life because of this privacy? Or less prepared? And what happens when the rule becomes impossible to enforce? When the children grow up and want to make their own choices about privacy and publicity. One thing is certain, William and Kate are trying to rewrite the rules of royal parenting. They're attempting something no generation before them truly achieved, raising royal children who actually have a childhood. Whether they succeed or fail, they're doing it with fierce love and absolute conviction. Because they know what happens when you get it wrong. Do you think William and Kate are right to be so strict? Or are they being overprotective? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story gave you a new perspective